All right. Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, April 8th. We're taking a look at NASDAQ. Pretty wild session yesterday. Definitely some anomalies within yesterday's session. Moving forward, where are we at this morning? Well, price is bumping into that 18K key daily pivot right through there. 18K, 18,100. You can see that grayed area there on the chart, prior area of support, pretty significant area of support. Right through here, previously tested and held as support with some significant bounces from this zone. We get the failure on Friday. Now price is right back into that area. What I'm going to be looking at for today is how price responds to this 18K level of interest, area of interest. If buyers can hold price above 18K, if sellers really fail to materialize in this area, that would be one of the first major resistance points that buyers have been able to reclaim, which would be pretty significant. So 18K stays as the primary watch for this morning and throughout the session today. It is still a bearish backdrop, something to keep in mind there. So we'll see what we're looking at off of the open here, which is in about 3.5 minutes. But as of right now, NQ just making fresh highs during that overnight session, just shy of 18,200, that 18,200 level of interest. So if this zone, if buyers show acceptance above this zone, we'll be looking at potentially a push up into prior day high, which is just shy of 18,400, and then maybe a push for 600. We'll see what kind of volatility we get for today. Now, if 18K fails, I'll definitely be looking at some of those prior day levels. I'll mostly be interested in 17,800. You can see the significance of that level, not only from yesterday, but it is a higher time frame level of interest. And then from there, if that were to fail, if sellers step in real aggressively here versus 18K, I won't be super interested in the 600. I'll be more interested in watching the reaction versus 400. So that's kind of the game plan for this morning. We've got the open in about 2 minutes here. Regardless of how your day was yesterday, you want to come in today with a fresh slate mindset. Whatever happened yesterday does not matter for today. It is a fresh slate, right? Here comes the open, about 1 minute. One more minute. Economic data today. Let's see. No economic data scheduled for today. All right, 20 seconds till the open. Right now, overnight high 18,170. There's the open. 18,170 overnight high. Just shy of that 200 level of interest. So taking a look at our 5 minute, definitely have a gap higher this morning. Still within the prior day's range, just because yesterday's move was so massive. Getting back into that 18,100 area. Staying patient here. Don't love this current location. See what the higher time frames have to say. It's like you got YM into that prior day high. ES just shy of 5250 level of interest. And NQ new high of day 18,200. See how 200 is going to be treated here. Opening 5 minute bar closes here in 30 seconds. Caught between the 18,100 and 200 level of interest. My preference would be for a push up and through 200 and then maybe a little retest. What's this high from Friday? 249. Then you have the gap above 249 there. Little rejection there at 200. 200. Is that a new low? That's a new low on the day. So this is that key zone for NASDAQ, 18K to 18,100. Big volume void here as we get into 18K. I don't know if you can see that, but for the extended hours, big volume void right through this area. For the volume profile enjoyers. Not much to do here just yet. Unless, of course, you shorted the 200 level of interest. Then you're sitting pretty. Ray getting some reps in. Nice. Plus 100 on the short Ray. Nice, man. And Q wrestling with this 18-100 area. Just shy of that overnight high. Overnight high 170. And Q, we'll see how this retest of overnight high is going to be treated. So far, that test of the 1800 area held pretty nicely. Like I said, that's like this all this gray area on the chart is that key higher time frame zone. NQ is still caught in a tough spot here. We between that key pivot on the daily time frame and then the 18,200 level of interest and Friday's RTH high, that is. Tricky, tricky. Tricky, tricky. NQ up through that overnight high. We're getting back into 200. So we'll see how 200 is going to be treated again here. There you go. New high of day. Not bad, not bad. Give it a shot there near the lows. Not my best entry, but we're still riding. Still riding it. I want to see how Friday's high is treated now. Friday high 249 and then up into prior day high just shy of 400. That's one trade I took. Sold some, added back a little higher once it looked a little better. Once this next micro higher low develops, we'll raise the trail if we do get one. Otherwise, I'll just trail the rest near my entry. Which may actually happen. Retested overnight high and back in at 200. That's a good spot to raise it. We'll put it just right there near 165 for the trail. The trailer. 5 minute looks pretty uneventful so far. There's the trail. Not bad. I'll take it. It was a decent play. Not the best execution, but made it work. The idea there was for this key daily pivot to be holding. I liked it up above 18,100. You get the fresh high at the level of interest, which so far looks like an up thrust. We're right back into 18,100. Don't really want to grab it again here. This area is pretty congested. I'd like to see, really would just like to see this area resolve. Look at 18K again. But I don't want any fresh longs up in this zone right now. So staying patient now. Don't want to take too many attempts in a lower probability area. In a bearish backdrop. So we wait. Yeah, the up thrust was nice. Nice work, Dom. It's a good looking trade. Still a tough spot above that 18. Tough spot for either direction here. Because if you're short, you're bumping into this daily pivot. You do have the benefit of the backdrop, though. Backdrop is on your side, so you do have that benefit. None of the other indices made session highs, by the way. We've got about 10 minutes, a little less than 10 minutes till 10 a.m., so we'll see if we get some more clarity. As far as the structure is concerned, but remember, following expansion, it's not that uncommon to see a little compression. Now, granted, recent volatility throws that right out the window, but as far as statistical norms, get a big expansion move, you tend to see a little compression. Well, there's your 100 holding again. Wow, NQ's up almost 4%, 3.5%. Feels like nothing. Wow. 3.58%, 3.6% NQ is up. The charting platforms do such a good job at scaling the candlesticks that you can't even, unless you're actually paying attention to the points, you can't even really tell. Pay attention to the width of those structures. NQ back into 200, 18,200. It's a nice hold again there in the key zone. You got ES coming into the highs. You got NASDAQ with a new high of day. All right, there's a little more clarity for you. Up and through 200, coming into Friday's high. Keeping an eye on this RTH chart. Can't see it on the screen, but there is a gap up above that area. There you go. Little gap right there. Yeah, wait until 10 a.m. as well. 6 minutes. 6 minutes. See if we get some push up through Friday's high. I'd love to see it. Then you have the prior day high. Already a decent morning, even with just that one trade. Man, the volatility. That's trading less than half size. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. So a little churn here near that 200. Yeah, half size is the way to go right now. Half size or less. Technically, a slight new high of day there for NASDAQ. Here comes Friday's high. Looks like that re-entry I didn't end up taking worked out pretty nicely. Part of the game. All right, 1 minute till 10 a.m. NQ pressing the highs. Let's see. ES into prior day high. Russell, nice hold at VWAP. VWAPy. NASDAQ almost up 4% on the day. New highs. No entry personally. What's the price point at plus 5%? Keep an eye on that. A lot of the props are going to lock out at that price point. It's not just the downside limit you got to worry about for some of these prop firms. Can't do math? You don't need to do math. Just take your old tool here. There's 5% measured up into 18,560 for NASDAQ. Yeah, 7% Mish, 783. Yeah, so basically if that if that Friday morning gap closes, that's the point to stop trading. I'm not seeing a re-entry personally, so we're just chilling. Technically so far nailed the low, but did not hold. Trailered out. No, I'll look at a retest of 200. I'd look at it. NQ is getting into prior day high here. Prior day high 361.5. Rich, the bot, I doubt it traded so far today. It's based on yeah, this thing's still cash. It's based on extended hours VWAP. So the VWAP I have on the screen right now, the bot has not placed a trade since Thursday for NASDAQ. If it was trading ES, it would have been long yesterday. Looks like at 11:14. But it's not optimized for ES, so NASDAQ coming into prior day high. No re-entry granted. So 1 for 1 this morning. Stair step riding the higher lows only with a reference point. Only with a reference point, and then typically only going to do that in a bullish environment. I just don't have that conviction right now. So the environment's really key for something like that. The backdrop rather. It's definitely a good way to ride a trend, but for me I need that backdrop to be backing me up. See if we get a retest into 200 here. So we get a little retest there of Friday's high. And we're right back into the highs. It's a decent little reference point. There's your new high of day. Go ahead and raise those trails. So yeah, Rich, there's like the higher low there with a reference point. And here comes the trail. Oh, holding on. It's holding on. There it is. All right. We'll take it. Technically hit the structure target. So, which would be session highs. The little retest. Little pullback into a reference point. You hit the structure target. And you try and ride for prior day high with a trail. 2 for 2. 2 for 2. Won't buy it again right here, personally. Yeah, you don't really want the retest right there. I don't anyway. This push, new high of day, should have shown a test of the prior day high at least. The fact that sellers just stuff it right there again. Not the best sign. We'll see if we get a a test into 200 and what that looks like. We're just chilling now, staying patient, letting it build. 45 minutes into the sesh. Oh man. Gen Z battle. So it begins. It's only a matter of time before the Gen Zs start to battle it out in the chat every day. This week has been rough for a pullback to VWAP trader. I don't know if I agree with that. Did you see ES yesterday? I mean, this is insane. There's 150 points, 57, 100, 60, 145. Oh, you only trade NQ. Yeah, NQ, I don't think it got hit yesterday. Let's see. Pretty close right there here. That's decent. Decent right there here. What time is that? 11:30? Today you can probably deploy the RTH. Why do I have a gap in my data now? Let's hit the reload. Chart reload. All right, that's better. So, quick context update. We talked about main focus. This zone right through here, right? Whether or not sellers would show up again. And what do you know? They do not. What do you know? They do not. So we may have that near-term backdrop shifting today. We'll see what the close looks like. See what that end of day looks like. But so far, there's a pretty significant area of resistance that buyers have been able to reclaim. Now, NASDAQ getting into that prior day high. This thing's got to be up almost 5%, 4.41%. NASDAQ. No new high of day, though. Are you talking about the ES trades, Mish? I mean, it went 150 points, man. It went 150 points. Come on. Yeah, you got to be able to navigate the mud. It's a little murky. It's a little murky sometimes. That is true. So that retest of Friday's high ended up working. Another retest of an area I pass on, and the idea works. That's part of the game, though. That is part of the game. Being willing to let a setup go without you. So we're still just 2 for 2 on the morning. Staying patient, sticking with the process, looking for the A plus. So let's see how that prior day high is going to be treated. It's just 10 points away now. It's our total move today so far. 300 points almost. Alrighty. Tax day in 1 week. FYI. Get those taxes filed if you're into that. If you are into that. Yeah, I'm not gonna comment on that one. No comment, no comment, no comment. Uh, yeah, I don't recall Uncle Sam being in the trenches with me. Come to think of it, Mish. That's right. So no break of that prior day high just yet. That's right, Rich. Educational and entertainment purposes only. I'm not a CPA. This action is pretty slow here compared to yesterday. Tell you that. ES rejecting 5,300 back in a prior day high. You got YM there with the rejection of the overnight high. NASDAQ just kind of in no man's land here. Like to see a decent pullback. Where are we at with the fibs? There's the shallow fib. 1 hour into the sesh. How's everyone's day? How we doing? How we doing out there? It's like NASDAQ held that shallow fib coming back into the session highs. Cash, 1 for 1. Green, nice, Steve. Now I'm green but bored. NQ, new high of day. Cash, 1 for 1, 1 for 1. Oh, there's a little blip. Little boop. Tape accelerates a little bit. See if Walter tweeted something. Technically got a very slight new high of day right there with a big uptick in volume. We've got some trade chatter. Hitting the feeds right now, FYI. So we're back into Friday's high. Got an uptick in volume here. Keep an eye on that 5 minute, 5 and 15, showing us a little bit of exhaustion right near that prior day high. That 15-minute candle right there. That's a good call. Volume point of control up here at 295. Grab the up thrust, Dom. Nice. That's pretty clean. Prior day high right there. You guys calling it? All right. Have a good day, Dom and Steve. NQ still holding that Friday high. Pretty solid reference point so far today. 18,249 is the level. I've not placed any new trades personally. We're still just 2 for 2 on the morning. Staying patient here. All right, we'll give it another 10 minutes or so, see if NQ can break this 250 by 350 range. Give us another setup to work with. On this most recent bounce here from Friday's high, price did not retest the 350. Not yet, anyway. Check out the 5 minute. This is just barcode here. All right, let's see if this next push breaks the high. Otherwise, I'm going to call it a morning here. NQ's up 4.3% on the day. Made the most of the action this morning. Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. Have not seen a true A plus entry. Actually, the 18200 short. Could mark that as an A plus. It's just starting to get a little choppy now. Choppy, choppy. Yeah, it's about time to call it. It is about time to call it. This most recent bounce from Friday's high did not retest the highs. And yeah, volume point of control right there at 295. So if this is the backside of the move, just be cautious. Be cautious. I'll be keeping an eye on 18200 as well as 18K if price gets back down into there. And prior day high, of course, stays on watch as well. Really, what we want to see is how this structure is going to break. It's kind of late morning structure right through here with all the volume through this area. Just kind of retesting that structure support. There's down and through. See if 18,200 actually trades now. But yeah, once you see the test there, new high, test again, new high, test again, no new high. This price kind of telling you something right there. So the morning shakes out. We'll keep it going in the traders think tank as always. For me personally, it was just two trades on the morning. Actually, I ended up hitting daily goal, trading less than half size with just those two trades. So hope you guys had a good morning. If you have questions, reach out in the traders think tank. Send me a DM. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow morning. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.